In this video exercise, I'm going to be doing a detailed construction of a single start external right hand screw thread. Okay, so in general the drawing is going to be horizontal. It's going to be drawn horizontal. So before I start, I like to draw a construction line through the middle. It does say you have to do a center line, but I'm going to do a construction line. I always do center lines afterwards. Now the size of this screw thread, and this is a square thread, it's M60 and it's got a 16mm pitch. Okay, so it's M60 with a 16mm pitch. Alright, and it has a length of 80mm. Alright, so let's get on to this drawing. So first things first, we're going to mark off the length. Okay, so the length is 80mm long. Alright, then I'm going to mark off my markings like this. Construction line like that, and construction line like that. Okay, now the first thing we're going to do is to mark off the width or the nominal diameter of the thread, and it's M60, so that means it's going to be 60mm. So I'm going to line up the 30. Okay, and I'm going to make a marking there, and I'm going to make a marking there. Now I said the pitch is going to be 16mm, so half of 16 is 8, because when you do square threads it works with half pitches. Alright, I have seen smaller pitches before, and you get really tiny little square threads like that. Yes, you do get them, like the one in the example of the textbook, but I like to make one a little bit bigger just to show you how it also looks if you do it at a different pitch. So this one's going to have a 16mm pitch, but we're going to work with half pitches, so half of 16 is 8. And like with the V thread, you mark off the full pitches at the top, but unlike the V thread, you can also mark the full pitches at the bottom. No, you see it's a square thread, so it's very symmetrical. So I'm going to mark off 8mm on the top. See, it's 8, and then I'm going to mark off 16, and then 24, and so forth. And then I'm going to mark off the half pitches downstairs. Okay, I got a little bit lost there. I do tend to forget my times tables sometimes because I try to remember my 8 multiple timetables, but try work with some accuracy, so try and make sure you're right. So I always double check. Okay, now the next thing we're going to be doing is our crest lines. Now, unlike the V shape of the threads, it's not going to have these V threads, but I'm going to start doing my crest lines. Now, since this is right hand, the threads are going to go this way, the crest lines. So I'm going to line up with the ruler on one corner to the other corner. Now this is one way of doing it. You can do it this way, and you line up from one corner to the other pitch and you draw a straight line. Then you go to the next one, it's the same thing, you draw a straight line, and you can do this for all of them. But as I said in the previous exercises, I like using this method, and I find it very quick and more therapeutical to do it this way. So as again, you line up the points like that. That's how you line it up. Just double check if it's all the same. Yeah, that's the same, that's the same. And we can start drawing our crest lines. Alright, so now I've done my crest lines. The next thing we're going to do is also, now the other thing I forgot to do just now is also you have to work off half a pitch over here, because you have also an inner diameter where you're gonna see it when it comes. It's basically called the I'll edit that out. Alright, next thing I also want to do is just mark off half a pitch here and half a pitch here, because this is like, instead of a V thread where it meets the crest, basically it is a bit of the crest, but it's like more of a square thread, but it's basically the internal diameter of the thread. So that's why I want to work off half a pitch here, which is 8mm, and I'm going to draw a line across. Yeah, it's very different to the V thread, not the same, but I actually find these much more easier to draw, guys. You'll find out when you practice these are much more easier to draw. Still, it doesn't mean you mustn't neglect to practice, and I find them usually much more neater to do. In the exam setting, normally I find that they have square threads, but as I say, touch wood, they can ask you V threads, they can ask you a combination of threads too. Okay, right, so now that I've got my crest lines, the next thing I want to do is which ones are going to be crests and which ones are going to be roots. That's what I'm trying to say to you. So I'm going to decide these ones are going to be like the crests over here. So I'm going to draw a line, skip a gap, draw a line, skip a gap. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So you draw a line from there to there, and then one from there to there, and then one from there to there, and then one from, oh, even that breaks sometimes, guys. And it's left a bit of a smudge. I just want to rub out the smudge first before I carry on. The problem is this thing pierces very heavily, so it might actually leave a mark. That's fine. I'll just carry on, guys. It is a bit messy. I'm actually going to get the razor shield and try to fix it up properly now. But yeah, that's why I'm glad it happened, because I want you to see that. I want you to see that the pencil breaks. So you must not be too rough with it. Yeah, there we go. Now I got rid of it. Looks much better. Now, guys, I know it looks messy from a distance, or from here where you're looking at, but from 1 meter away I can hardly notice that. And they're normally not so critical about things like that. They're more critical if they find a line going right through this. And that's where they get very critical. Alright, but try to not make mistakes often. Okay, and then I'm going to close this one over here, this one off. Now remember, I told you these are a bit like root lines, the roots of the thread. So therefore, wherever it's over here, it's going to be the same over there. Always follow where you put that line on this side and do it the same on the other side. Please be very careful, because if you don't do it correctly, it will come out wrong. There we go. So now we've done the crest lines of the thread. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, and this is also, it's a lot of work, but not a lot of work, but it is something that you have to understand how threads work. Because as I said, this is internal threads. You know how the threads work, how they spin around in an actual movement. You must see that this is a crest, and then this one's going up to there, down to there, up to there, down to there, up to there. So what I'm going to show you is now you have to draw a line from there to here, because that's how the threads work. Alright, so look what I do over here. I line it up. I line up like that, and you draw a line like that. It doesn't matter which ones you do first, guys. I'm actually starting a little bit different, but I'm actually doing this one first. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to draw these lines over here. Okay, alright. Now look very carefully. If that goes up to there from that, surely that should go from there to there. So therefore, if you look carefully, that's going to go from there to there, like that, up to the construction line, guys. So it didn't come out nice, the pencil there. This one also didn't come out so nice. Let me just make it a little bit thicker. Yeah, sometimes the pencil doesn't do it thick like I want to. Okay, so if it's like that, then obviously if I do it like this, will this also work? Yes, it does, guys. Now what I'm doing over here, now sometimes I normally draw a construction line from there to there. Yes, you can do that, but I drew this construction line as a reference line, so you can also use that as well. So I'm just going to show you, just make sure it's all lined up properly. Make sure it's all lined up properly before you start doing anything, and everything is lined up properly. So now I'm going to start drawing my lines from there to there. There we go. Okay, and then from there to there. There we go. And then you draw that one over here as well. Okay, now I should ask me, why didn't I do a line over here from there to there? You can, but it's considered very untidy, and in real life you wouldn't have a sharp little piece sticking out there if you drew a thread like that. So normally we don't do the end pieces like that with square threads. We try to kind of round it off to make it look more friendly. And the same over here at the bottom. Yes, by default you should draw a line from there to there, but as you see in the textbook, it doesn't have it like that. It's because it's like a sharp point. It will cut your finger. So we normally don't do that. So normally we don't draw it over there at the ends. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is now, oh, this is the fun part. I need to draw some construction lines, and it's from the middle of these V's over here, and I need to draw them. And if you look carefully, they actually do line up. They actually should. They do. So I'm going to draw a construction line, and this is for our root diameter. Now I'm only going to mark it off over here and mark it off over there. I don't have to draw the line all the way through. Alright, I need a reference point to draw to, and this is for our nominal diameter, and it's also going to, I'll show you when we get there. As I say, guys, it's pointless talking about the terminology unless you start drawing these threads. It's a little bit too dark, that construction line, but That's fine. So I'm just line it up over here, make a marking. Okay, and then make a marking over here. Don't worry about the accuracy, guys. Practice makes perfect. Okay. Alright, now that I've got them all like that, this is what you do. You draw up to that line and you stop at that line. Okay, from here, from the crest up to that line over there like that, and you stop. Okay, and you do the same for the rest. Okay, and then you go downstairs, same thing. Draw it up to there like that, and you do the rest. Alright, now that we got that sorted out. Oh, and there's also one over here too. Ha ha ha! You keep on forgetting these little small things, but they do come and they do go. There we go, and then go over here, and there we go. There's the other one. Alright, cool, cool, cool. Then the next thing we're going to do is start closing it off, making it look a little bit neater. No, 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 you're rushing, Stephen. We are actually going to draw from there to there. You draw right up to the center. Okay. And basically, yeah, this is basically the root line, trying to blend, blend in with the crest line. Okay, and it's the same for this side as well. You take it from there and draw it to the middle. This is basically the crest lines of a square thread that we're drawing now. I'm not crest side, root lines, root lines. I keep on getting it mixed up. Root lines. Okay, cool. And you do the same for all of them. Yep, it's tedious, but you have to do it. Now you can do it like that, or, and as I said, guys, if you can do it this way, that's great. Sometimes it doesn't work out 100%, but we'll give it. It is getting fine. Yeah, there we go. That's what I wanted. So now I'm going to start drawing these lines. Alright, now I've done those lines, and now we just finish off by closing off over here. A little bit out, but that's fine. And go to the other side and close it off. Okay. Alright, and finally we put our center line. Now how long was this thing again? If it was 80, so 40 is where the center point is going to be. Now, as I say, use your own discretion. I'm going to mark a little center over here, and then I'm going to load it a little bit over here, and then stick it out 5 millimeters on each side. Stick it out 5 millimeters on the other side like that. And there we go. And there is my square thread. And that's how you do externally single start right hand square thread. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope you have a pleasant day further.